Hello there, very good evening to you. Welcome to your weekly sporting fix here on Sheffield Live TV with Talking Sheffield, talking Sheffield sport. I'm delighted tonight to welcome the manager of one of our city clubs, recently appointed by the Blades, a very popular character and has been for many years around these environs. Chris Wilder, manager of Sheffield United. Good of you to join us, Chris, and thank you very much for doing so.
No problems.
You're the kind of sandwich and it's perfectly timed as well between the two Euro games, England winning 2-1 eventually today against Wales, and now we hear Northern Ireland with a great victory over Ukraine. So we've just got, so we just can shoehorn this red and white sandwich into the football schedule, which people are saying red and white sandwich, half the city's saying it's a ham sandwich, for reasons I probably don't have to explain, but you do like the banter, don't you?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's always been there, and we it's part and parcel of growing up and living in the city that that both clubs share great rivalry, and we both back our own clubs to a fantastic level, and I don't think that'll ever change. I don't think there'll ever be a united team of the city, and so it should be.
You're a lifelong Blade. A lot has been made of that, although actually a lot more should be made of the record that landed you with the Sheffield United job. You'll be glad, I think, when the talking stops and the playing starts, because you've done a lot of talking.
Thanks. So.
And it's good of you to do a lot of talking. Otherwise,
I've answered a lot of questions, and obviously you've got to make a first impression. But yeah, you're right. It gives me an insight. Obviously I've got a great affinity to the football club, and that goes without saying. But it gives me an insight, and that's all it does. I like to think that I've been given the opportunity to manage a fantastic football club, because there's no matter what people say and what division it's in, this is an unbelievable big football club, and one that I'm very proud to lead, and I've got a great opportunity in front of me, and hopefully I can take it with both hands.
The great thing is, although you've done a lot of talking and had to do before a ball is kicked because of the timing has meant that you've had the whole summer, really.
Unbeaten.
Yeah.
We're unbeaten.
Unbeaten record, yeah. Long may that continue. But you have had the whole summer, right from almost bang on the end of the season. A very quick decision was made on Nigel Adkins, and you came in. So that's got to help you, I would think. Yeah,
but we have to get down to work pretty quickly. It's been an eventful season for me. Obviously, with the situation at Northampton off the pitch, and the success that we had on the pitch, and the great scenes afterwards. And as I said, we had a great season, and one that finished on an unbelievable high. But football, as it is, changes pretty quickly, and I was delighted to accept the offer to become the next Sheffield United manager, and I had to get on with it pretty quickly. And you try and stamp your personality and put your mark on the club straight away, and that's what we've tried to do. And I don't want to waste a second of my time in getting on with the job, which is a great job, an exciting job, a challenging job, and a tough one, because the club's been in the division for 6 years, and it shouldn't have been, but it is. We are where we are, and it's up to myself and the staff and the players, and most importantly everybody else connected to the football club, and the biggest part of that is the supporters to rally round, get together, and do our best to get us out of the division.
You've been very popularly received. There's not been a dissenting word. Now, a cautionary note, a year ago, everybody was saying the same about Nigel Adkins, and there was unanimous approval for it. But it must mean a lot to you that you've come in. I was only talking this week for my column with Tony Kenworthy, who rang me to moan about Blades throughout last season, and finally had a call from him saying, hey, this is great. So that must mean a lot to you.
I've had some fantastic calls, great show of support from everybody, from the chairman, the owner, the two owners. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say the chairman. Don't like me calling him the chairman, Kevin. So Kevin and the Prince and the directors have given me fantastic support getting the job, and everybody at the football club. And I've obviously played at Sheffield United, so keep in contact with a lot of people, see a lot of people around the city, and they're desperate for us to do well. Older players that I played with, living in the city. You know, Tony Garner, Brian Dean, who are famous names from the past. Spoke to Gagey, spoke to Keith Edwards. You know, even I had a fantastic cup of tea with TC, Ted Emsley and Len Badger this morning. And, you know, they're big characters from this football club. And
did you manage to sign them?
Struggling to touch. I think Ted still fancies his chances and of playing, but you know they're great characters. But it's quite humbling as well to listen to these guys as well, and the feeling that they've got for the football club. You know, I'm sat opposite, you know, Badge, who's just a fantastic character and does obviously a lot of work around the ground, and you could just see, you know, talking to him, and he's there with his passion, and they're desperate. You know, they're desperate for this club to do well, and I think we all are. Myself, the staff, and everybody connected to the club.
Yeah, and congratulations, by the way, about Northampton, League Two champions, terrific, by a street. In fact, I think you've got your feet up by March or something, middle of March you've done it. It was a boring end to the season, but that was really, really fantastic feat. And you mentioned all these legendary Blades figures, and most managers maybe go to a club cold or colder. Had you gone to Charlton, who wanted you previously, you wouldn't have perhaps known the detail, and you wouldn't have the sounding boards that you have with this job.
Well, no, but I still think it's important to get a feel of a football club, and I would have done the exact same. So I've ultimately got to make the big decisions, and I live and die by the results and the decisions that we make and the players that we sign. But why not use these guys? Why not seek out what their feel for the club is and stuff? And yeah, of course, it's not a debate. It's not an open forum to pick a side or to do what they want to do. But I just think it just gives me a great insight, and the support of those guys. And as I said, I'm not canvassing their goodwill. I think they're passionately care about the club, and they've been seeing possibly what a lot of people have been seeing over quite a long time now, and they want it back to where it was. You know, but I'm a football guy, so you know we talked this morning, the three of us. We were talking about the 60s and the 70s, and about players signing contracts, and you know the role of agents. So it's not what I should be doing. They trust me. I think they're delighted that somebody with a passion and a desire for the football club to do well is at the top and trying to lead their football club. But it was just great sat around with them and listening to these guys and their thoughts on football, thoughts on England. You know, thoughts on different situations, modern day footballers. You know, the good things that are in the game now, the bad things that are in the game now, the agents. You know, Badger's talking about. You know, I said to Badger, like, what's the situation with you when you was signing a new contract? And he was like, well, somebody just stuck a pen in my hand and I just signed it, and that was me done for the next season. And just refreshing as well. I think as well a lot of the values that I was brought up with as a player and a supporter, and those guys, you know, they're good values as well that should still be in the game. And I do believe that the successful teams that go on to win things and win football matches have the same desire and have the same values of the players of the past. So it was good to listen to those guys, and they're obviously legends of our football club.
And certainly the Blades do want to go back to the future, and there's a lot of those values they like to see in the team. Not least, I mean, sometimes journalists get sick of hard work, commitment, hunger, drive, and it all sounds like a cliche. But it's not for you guys, is it?
Not at all. I was asked the question, you know, ability. Where does attitude come? Does it come below ability, above it? It's the very first thing that you need. You know, I shouldn't be asking players to run around. Nobody asked me to run around. That's a given. To be a professional footballer, to pull on a shirt for wherever you're playing, you know, from your point of view, you should be prepared to put everything on the line. And then obviously off the back of that, you know, the physical part of the game, the tactical part of the game, the technical part of the game, you've got to be good in all those aspects. But the attitude, you know, you look at the teams that have, you know, and I've said this all along for this year, and my team was involved in success this year. But you look at all the divisions, from our division through to Burton, not the biggest spenders, not the most talented team, but I should imagine together, attitude, commitment, desire, organisation, reason that's got them up. Burnley exactly the same, and obviously an unbelievable example in the Premier League that is awash with money, with multi-millionaire players all over the country in every different Premier League team, and you've got a team that was 5,000 to 1 to win it, that's won it and won it comfortably as well. And you look at those players that they've picked up, the attitude, desire. Jamie Vardy's house at the back end of the season, they're all there. They're not on boats, they're not on planes, not on yachts, they're not in Dubai. They're around a player's house, watching their team, gain the biggest prize in English football.
Yeah, fantastic to see. 4-4-2 as well, getting the ball forward quickly.
Playing positive football. There's always different ways to win a football match. But whatever way people want to see positive football, playing forward, going forward. Some at the end of it, and they want to see commitment and people being competitive, and that's I want to see my teams do that. I want to see my teams compete and run around, and then when they've got it, be positive in what they want to do.
If you pick the right players and bring the right players in, and clearly you've retained a kernel, if you like, from you were well advised, you had an idea, you lived in Sheffield, you were aware of. You had some thoughts. You'd seen Sheffield United a few times, hadn't you?
I've seen Sheffield United over the past 20 years, let alone the past 12 months. And I've seen, even when I left, I used to come back and watch games, and there's plenty of people that have seen me at games, and we sit in the pub afterwards like we all do, and watch the game and analyse the game, and all have different thoughts and stuff like that. That's part of being a supporter.
You came in with an immediate impact. You released 10 and listed 7. I think I'm right in saying with the figures. That must have helped you because you had an opinion.
Yeah, I've got to be positive, and I'm sure that I'm not going to get every decision right when I'm the manager of Sheffield United. But you have to go with what you feel, and you have to be positive in the way you manage. And I looked at that and. Yeah, of course, other managers have different ways of playing, other managers have different ideas of play and how they want to play. I believe that what I believe will work at this football club is hopefully the players that we sign, the structure of how we're going to go about it, where we get the players from, what type of players we get in. So there's always going to be decisions on players, and there's always going to be opinions on players. So one manager fancies one player, another might not, and vice versa. So we've brought a couple back. We've listed a few that I don't think that are going to play a part in going forward. Nothing personal, which this is the game that we're in. It's happened to me. It'll happen to other players, and this is what it's all about. But trying to get a team together that gets us off to a really strong start.
You brought in a left back, Chris Hussey. You brought in a winger, Mark Duffy. I know Duffy well. I haven't seen him. Always been very impressed, particularly at Scunthorpe and obviously at Burton. That's 2. You won't be surprised to know that I've been inundated with questions on Twitter today.
And you won't be surprised that I'm not going to give you any answers.
No, I won't be, but they want me to I have to be seen to ask you.
Absolutely no problem.
Okay, so just there were a couple. Alex Revell, there was a suggestion. I mean, he's found a new club now. He's gone to your old club, Northampton.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a suggestion that you tried to bring him here and that he got to Northampton instead.
We spoke to Al, so I'm not going to hide about that, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over not signing him. I think he's a player that we looked at. I think at the top of the pitch you need to have different options. We've got Billy, who we made captain, who's a goal scorer. McNulty can score goals. Chadams has got something a little bit off the cuff. Matty Doan can run in behind. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who I've had at Northampton, is a young kid making his way in the game. So we felt that we need a bit of a physical presence up there. But there's a lot of things got to happen to get a player over the line. The financial package, the location, what the player wants in terms of is he prepared to sacrifice himself? Does he want to play week in, week out, or does he want to be part of a group? So there's no guarantees on any of them. So the player made a decision, and as well, I think everybody recognises the financial situation at this football club has got to change because of the amount of money that the club has spent in the past and the position it's still in. So I should imagine that the owners, one of the sort of the advantages or attractions of getting me to work for them is that I want value for money, but it is my money and my pal's money as well as the Prince's money and Kevin McCabe's money and the money that's earned from the commercial department, because my pal gets a season ticket, so he wants value for money. Kevin wants value for money. The Prince wants value for money. We all want value for money. So from that point of view, I want to make sure that we are competitive without overspending. So that's the reason that
Ravel's gone to Northampton,
which moves on, and we'll move on. But
he's a player of a type that you'd like.
That's the one. I think that's that's the key. And we have to come to a situation where we don't keep chasing it money wise. So, and the biggest thing is the player has to make the decision. So that's fair enough.
Ricky Holmes is a player that you've been linked with, not surprisingly. He's moved today to Charlton. From Northampton, scored a lot of goals from you for wide position. Did you look
yeah,
at
he did
him?
great. He did great for us. We've got good players at the top of the pitch, though. You know, I look at the top of the pitch, and of course, one of the questions that I was first asked was, will I be going back to my old club? And they've obviously some talented players there, and Ricky's one of them. He's gone to Charlton, the team that he lives pretty close to.
Right. You had a bit of a nibble.
We spoke about it at boardroom level, but they've come in and offered him a deal that, you know, I spoke to Ricky that he can't turn down.
Yeah.
And
another of your old players on the move as well, John Marquis, I noticed, has gone to Doncaster.
Not one that we've been interested in. John did great for us, a young kid.
So now you can tell me who you're targeting now.
I'll leave that. I think people will understand the positions, positions that we're after. We're obviously after some, you know, a couple of centre backs, 3 centre backs, because I think the club has possibly been quite light in that position for 2 or 3 years now. So, you know, we're speaking to people. It's a quiet period for managers, even though we are working underneath the surface very, very hard, speaking to agents and speaking to players. Players are not really making decisions. A lot of the players are away, but I imagine now for, you know, over this weekend and going into next week, things will really start to hot up, and we're in the market for players. We need
all positions.
Well, I'd say that, you know, if any of the players that go that we might put on the transfer list, then we have to look at those positions to replace. Definitely centre half. We feel midfield, we need some balance in there. Maybe a left-footed central midfield player, and maybe we talk about a target man, another one at the top of the pitch. So we've still got business to do. We've still got work to do. I've obviously made decisions with the players that I don't see part of our future going forward. But if they're still with the club, then, you know, they might have a part to play going forward as well. So it's a little bit of a grey area at the moment. And
you're going to run a tighter squad.
Absolutely,
sure.
Absolutely. You know, we won't run with anything more than 24, 25. We've got a fantastic academy, so we will supplement our first team with that. So you'll see more opportunities for the younger boys being involved in the first team squad, which is important. You know, one of the questions I got asked by the board was, what's your views on the academy? Well, the club sticks a lot of money into the academy. So either don't stick any money on it and scrap it, or if they're going to put money into it, and it has been successful in the past, both teams getting through to two national finals this year. Players that have come through, George Long, who's re-signed, Harry Maguire, Jordan Slew, they sold for over, $1.5 million. So,
1 million,
you know, I think it's very, very well run down there, headed by Travis Binion. There's some real good people in there. John Dunworth, and Mickey Wadsworth, who've got fantastic experience as well. So we will work closely with every aspect of the club. I think one of the things that I did look at was maybe there's been a little bit of disconnection with all different parts of the football club, from the academy to the first team, from the first team to the supporters, from the office staff to every part of it. So might just be a few little bits and pieces just to drag everybody back in together and be as one, because I think that, well, I believe when this club is at one and going forward together, you know, this is, you know, and when it has succeeded, that's been one of the reasons.
Would you believe that's the first half over already?
Is that
just
me
as
done?
we're getting, no, it's not. Plenty more from Chris Wilder. James Gregg will join us with everything else after the break. You've got 5 minutes. We'll see you then.